18th of January every year, there's a guy who was saved from the Holocaust. And they're walking for 3 days in Europe, cold, and January is cold, right? And without sleeping, without eating, just walking for 3 days. Somebody he had a dream, while he was half asleep, talking to his mother and asking him, "You promised me that the land of Israel is a great land, and they have big breads growing from the trees there. Where's everything? How's one of those pieces of bread that grow on the trees from Israel?" She said, "Only when you go to Jerusalem, and only then you can eat those special bread." Anyway, he survived the war, and he came to Israel. He lives in Israel. And to show his appreciation of his small winning the Nazis, so every year, that date, he goes to a falafel shop, very Israeli food, and he eats a falafel, a pita, a very Israeli food, and I said, "That's my winning the Nazis. I came to Israel, I saw the nice food of the land of Israel," and so that's today's date.
The 18th.
The 18th of January. Okay, so we're starting Ezra. Before we start Ezra, we actually should finish maybe. Go look at the end of the Divrei Hayamim. There's almost identical psukim between the last psukim of the Divrei Hayamim and the two first psukim of Ezra.
Tell Brett what Divrei Hayamim is.
Divrei Hayamim is the last book of Tanakh.
Oh, okay.
Written by Ezra.
Right, okay.
And it summarizes all the history, you can say all the history of Israel from the beginning. I'll just read the first pasuk of Divrei Hayamim.
Okay.
Right, it's just Adam, Shet, Enosh, Kenan, Ma'alel, Yared. Obviously, you know those names, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from the beginning of the world until the exile of the first exile, until actually when Koresh, the king of Paras, the Persian king, he gave permission to the Jews to go to the land of Israel. So I'll read the last psukim of Divrei Hayamim. If you want, you can look at the first psukim of Ezra. You can try and see if there's any differences between them. There's one very, very small difference, and one difference which is a bit bigger. We'll know that. Why do we look at Divrei Hayamim? First, there's identical psukim. Second, Ezra starts with the letter Vav, Uvishnat. Everyone who writes an essay and started a sentence with the word and, so probably the teacher told you that's not how we start a sentence. Yeah? We don't start with and something. Ezra does start with an and, so it's like a continuation of Divrei Hayamim, and it actually is a continuation since the psukim are almost the same psukim, really almost the same psukim. The psukim which we won't read in Divrei Hayamim is about the exile, Tzidkiah's exile, they go to Babel, and Nebuchadnezzar, he burns Jerusalem, he takes many things from there, he brings them to Babel, they were there for slaves until came the Persian king, and it was a punishment because the nation of Israel didn't keep the Shemitah years. And now I'm reading the last two psukim in Divrei Hayamim.
So the Jews were slaves in Babel?
Were slaves. Some of them were slaves. Some of them actually got a place, and they were quite wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite wealthy.
Yeah, because I thought they did pretty well in Babel.
Yeah.
But originally they were slaves when they went there?
Some of them were slaves. Some of them were in prison, and then they were released afterwards. Generally speaking, you can see. You can't see Nebuchadnezzar, he's not a Russia. He killed many thousands of Jews. But maybe that was also the way, maybe more of a tactical way. Then he wasn't against the Jewish nation as a nation. He was against maybe the kingdom of the Jewish nation. So he lives in Israel, he lives in the land of Israel, like Yirmiyahu actually said. He leaves them people, the simple people there, with the Rabbi Achikam. And he takes the wealthy people and maybe makes them slaves, while he takes simple people and he left them to work the land. Maybe also it was more of tactics for him. He wanted to have wealth. He wanted people to pay him the money. So if Jews can do business and they pay taxes, so it's worth it for the economy. Maybe that's the. So I'm reading the last two psukim in the Abraham. You can read in Ezra to see how it's almost the same. ובשנת אחת לכורש מלך פרס, the first year of Koresh, the king of Paras, Persia, לכלות דבר השם בפי ירמיהו, we'll go on and explain it afterwards, to the end of the words of Hashem in the mouth of Yirmiyahu, and here's the first difference. Here it says בפי ירמיהו with the bet. What does it say in your
Mipi.
Mipi with a mem.
Mipi.
It says Mipi with a mem, right? So בפי ירמיהו, מפי ירמיהו. You can maybe say that the letters Bumaf, Bet and Mem sometimes change in the Hebrew language. It's the same. But we'll see soon more of a greater difference. Ha'ir Hashem et ruach Koresh melech Paras. I'm just translating it, and then afterwards we'll go into it a bit deeper. So Hashem woke up maybe the soul of Koresh, the king of Paras. ויעבר קול בכל ממלכתו. He announced in all of his kingdom, and he had a very, very big kingdom. וגם במכתב. He also announced and also wrote it. Okay, again, and afterwards we'll ask why did he write it. וגם במכתב לאמור, to say, כה אמר כורש מלך פרס. That's what Koresh, the king of Paras, said. כל ממלכות הארץ נתן לי השם אלוקי השמיים. Hashem, the Lord of all of the sky, of heaven, gave me all of the kingdoms of the land. And the Persian empire is quite a big empire then, so you can understand why he says why he says all of the kingdoms of the land. What's interesting, and maybe again we'll go into it, he says Hashem, the king of the sky, gave me all of the kingdoms in the land.
Is he talking about the same Hashem that we?
Yeah, the same Hashem that we believe in.
So he believes in the same God?
Yeah. Hashem אלוקי השמיים, והוא פקד עליי, he commanded me, לבנות לו בית בירושלים, to build a house in Jerusalem, אשר ביהודה, okay, the Jerusalem in Yehuda, in the kingdom of Yehuda. I'm not sure if we mentioned it last time or not, but the kingdom of Israel for many, many years was divided to two kingdoms, the kingdom of Yehuda, the kingdom of Israel, and the kingdom of Israel was destroyed for many, many years beforehand, and Yehuda now, that's the kingdom of Yehuda, that's the kingdom who rebelled against Babel, and that's the kingdom where he's letting them back to go and build for themselves some sort of house. מי בכם מכל עמו, מי בכם מכל עמו, השם אלוקיו עמו ביער. Whoever from you wants to can go and Hashem will be with him and can go to the land of Israel. And here the pasuk ends. If you're looking in Ezra, so you obviously see a continuation of the pasuk. So we'll start from that, understanding the continuation of the pasuk, and then we'll go back to understand the pasuk that we read. So
Well, I do have a question on this, generally on this pasuk that we just read, which was, the king is saying, the Koresh is saying that he's commanded as if he had nevuah.
He had nevuah, yeah. As if he had nevuah.
He had nevuah.
It's a great question. Well, let's say, okay, it's a great question. Obviously, he didn't have a nevuah, but someone else had a nevuah for him. Rashi brings a nevuah Yirmiyahu. Okay, but obviously he didn't have a nevuah, and one of the prophets of Israel had a nevuah.
Had a nevuah,
For him.
Aha,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, okay. So I want to just continue the few words which aren't said in the Abraham and the brought here, which I think are quite interesting. And also Rashi asked a question, Yeshayahu Navi has a nevuah for him, but we'll get to it. Just okay, start with him, and then we'll get back to it. We'll go back from the beginning. And before we read the two lines which are missing in the Abraham and are written here, you look at the lines and you'll see, you can really understand why Divrei Hayamim doesn't mention them. Okay, you can really understand. And it's actually a question, so why is it mentioned here? Okay, so Vayal, the pasuk continues. He'll go after, where will he go to? Yerushalayim asher b'Yehuda. He'll go to Jerusalem, which is in Yehuda. Now, obviously, if Koresh was said beforehand, I had a commandment from a prophet, Yeshayahu, see it in Rashi, from Yeshayahu to go and build a house in Yehuda, which is in Israel. Obviously, the people are supposed to go to Yehuda. Where will they go to? If not to Yehuda.
I mean, the 10 tribes are already lost, right?
The 10 tribes are already lost, yeah.
I mean, all there is Judah, right?
So it's
Binyamin.
the Yehuda and Binyamin, right? Yehuda and Binyamin, and actually also there were a few more from the other tribes with them. A bit of Shimon, a bit from Ephraim. Some of them through the history of the hundreds of years being in Israel. So the tribes did mix with each other, and that's Asa, the king of Yehuda. He conquered. There was many wars between Yehuda and Israel. One of the wars, so Asa conquers a place called Har Ephraim, the Mount of Ephraim. So there were also a bit of other tribes also mixed in with the tribes of Yehuda. So my son asked me once, what tribe are we? If we aren't Levim, we don't know where Levim. So I said Yehuda and Binyamin. I said they were the same. So 50% were Yehuda, 50% were Binyamin. It's actually not so correct because there were also other tribes mixed in with all the rest of the tribes.
Okay, what this Koresh is talking about, is he talking about is it his obligation, or are the Jews are obligated to do this?
That's a good question. Why is it a good question?
Is he a Jew or not?
Koresh isn't the Jew. Koresh isn't the Jew. That's maybe should be my first question, but I just started from the Pesukim. There's many questions that we can discuss here. But according to Chazal, he was commanded to build the house, the temple, himself,
Oh.
but he just gives permission. So, yes, it's a good question. Chazal actually answers this question. So he was commanded to build, but he just only gave permission. Maybe he gave wealth. There's a difference between giving wealth or sending people and doing it yourself. So anyway, the pasuk continues. He'll go to Jerusalem, which is in Yehuda. V'yiven et bet Hashem Elokei Yisrael. He'll build a house of Hashem, the God of Israel. Hu ha'Elohim asher b'Yerushalayim. He is the God that is in Jerusalem. And this pasuk first brings questions because you can ask, why is it mentioned again? You go to Jerusalem. Obviously, it's obvious to go to Jerusalem. And what does it mean he'll build a house of Hashem, the God of Israel? And mainly, what does it mean, the end of it? He is the God that is in Israel. In Jerusalem? What does it mean he is the God that is in Israel, in Jerusalem? Where will he be? When I was young, I'm sure also when you were young, so you had the song, I think it was probably from the times of the world being created. Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere, right? So Hashem isn't in Jerusalem, Hashem is everywhere. And we have Daniel beforehand, which talked, we had dreams with Hashem, we have Nevuah somewhere through there, so why does it mean in Jerusalem?
Well, but I thought the base of Mikdash was the house where Hashem was supposed to dwell.
Yeah, that's the house Hashem is supposed to dwell is in Jerusalem. Something here seems adding too many words.
Why repeat it?
Yeah, why repeat it? Why repeat it?
You already said it.
Why, what now?
Why repeat it? You
Yeah,
already
Why
said it.
repeat it?
Yeah.
Why repeat it?
Okay.
And so the Midrash in Shmot Rabbah answers or says that the Shekhinah never moved from the Eichal. The place of the temple, that was always a holy place. Even after the exile, God always, as if we can call it, stayed or dwelt in Jerusalem. So that's what the Midrash answers. It says in the Pasuk in Tehillim, Koli el Hashem ekra ve'aneni mehar kodsho sela. Forever Hashem will answer us from the land, from Jerusalem, from His mount. The Midrash says, ve'af al pi shu bet HaMikdash charev is destroyed, although the temple is destroyed, harei hu omed b'kedushato, it still has its holiness in the temple. And that's what the Midrash answers. The Midrash learns it from here, and Koresh realizes that there's something special in going to Jerusalem. And probably Jews asked, and that's why I brought it in the beginning, why should we go to Jerusalem? Why shouldn't we build the temple here? if most of the nation is in Babel, isn't it just more simple? Let's build here a great shul. We'll build great synagogues. We'll build a world of Torah. Why do you have to go to Jerusalem and it's a long way and then only a few people come, not all the nation, only a few thousand? Why not do everything here? And Koresh realizes, and he also tells them, Hashem is in Jerusalem. Hashem is in Jerusalem. And it's a bit of a contrast to what Koresh's words beforehand. He says, Hashem Elokei Hashamayim, right? Kol Melachot Haaretz, all the kingdoms in the land. Natani went up to Pasuk Bet again. Natani Hashem Elokei Hashamayim. Hashem, the God of the sky, of the heaven, He gave me all the kingdoms in the land. And maybe Koresh here realizes that the way he views God is that there's people in land, and there is God in heaven, and God in heaven can give the king a kingdom, but God is in heaven. And he realizes that the Jews have something else, and they have Hashem who makes a place holy. And Hashem makes a place holy, so he send the Jews to Jerusalem to build there in Jerusalem, because that's the only holy place where they can build the temple. Not in Babel, not in other places. So that's maybe the beginning of the book, and maybe show the theme through the book, all the effort the Jews had to make Aliyah, go to Jerusalem and build the temple. And they realized something is special in Jerusalem. Even the people who stayed behind, they realized the difference between building a shul in Babel and sending our people to Jerusalem, so they send them with wealth and other things, so that they realized something, and that's maybe very unique about Judaism. I think we mentioned it also last time, that we have a chefza of a mitzvah. A mitzvah goes into the atzitzit, which is clothes we wear, into the food. You say a bracha on the food itself. All the physical world also has holiness in it. So we don't say Hashem is in the heaven and we live here in the land. No, Hashem is in the land. Whatever we do, if it's actual, it has a mitzvah even in it. We build a house, yes, so building a fence to the house, people want to fall. It's a mitzvah. It's bringing holiness into the normal wealthy mezuzah. Yeah. The mezuzah, every aspect which is in our actual life, there's a mitzvah in it, and that's what you can see from here. So bring holiness into the actual life. That's one of the themes maybe we'll see, and obviously a theme of going to Jerusalem. Now we can go back to the beginning of the pasuk and discuss more into detail. One of the questions which there's no answer to it, just because we have a few opinions, and every opinion has a source to it, is names. We'll meet many names through the book. Koresh. Who's Koresh? We'll meet soon someone called Sheshavtzar. Who's Sheshavtzar? We'll meet Mordechai. Mordechai, we talked about Mordechai Purim, probably the same Mordechai. Who are all of those people? And we have two different people, like Sheshavtzar and Zerubbabel. Is it the same person or a different person? We have Daniel and Sheshavtzar. Is it the same person or not the same person? Daniel was the assistant, one of the advisors of the king. Is he also someone who went to Jerusalem and helped to build Jerusalem? We have here questions. We have different opinions. I'll bring the opinions in the Gemara, different Gemarot, and sometimes the Gemarot or the Midrash argue with each other. Okay, so just good to know the different opinions. You can maybe, if you learn Pshat, just with Pshat without the Midrash, so you say each name is someone unique. Chazal, for the reasons, maybe the Kabbalah, Masot, or other reasons, they explained that some person might be another person. And, okay. So anyway, for the first year of Koresh Melech Paras, now we're going from the beginning. In the first year of Koresh, the king of Paras, Lichlot Var Hashem Mipi Yirmiyahu, for the end of something that Hashem told Yirmiyahu, which obviously brings up the question, what's the end of what Hashem told Yirmiyahu? What's the end of what Hashem told Yirmiyahu? So what did Hashem tell Yirmiyahu?
That the end has come. The end of the exile has come.
So Hashem told Yirmiyahu, after 70 years, they'll go back, end of the Galut.
Mm-hmm.
So after 70 years, they'll go back to the Galut. 70 years. Now, the Galut, we also mentioned last time, the Galut was in different stages. The last stage was Galut Tzidkiyahu, that's the last stage. And the stage before, I was going to print out the table of 12 dates. I didn't have time to do it, so just to go on by heart. But we have the Galut of Yehoiakim. The Galut of Yehoiakim. Yehoiakim. He was a king, from one of the last kings.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The exile of the king Yehoiakim, and the Babylonians take then the important people. They take them to Babel, and they leave in Israel the kings there, and so there's still a kingdom, but already part of the exile started already when Yehoiakim was brought to Babel. 18 years afterwards, we have the last exile when Tzidkiyahu, the king Tzidkiyahu, is taken to Babel and Jerusalem is destroyed. So we have here two counts of exile. The beginning of the exile when Yehoiakim was taken, Yehoiakim and the important people.
This is all during the 70 years?
No, that's
Before the
exile. Before the exile, so Yehoiakim is taken to Babel. 18 years afterwards, Jerusalem is destroyed, and Tzidkiyahu is taken to Babel. That's 18 years afterwards. Where do we start counting the 70 years? Where do we start counting 70 years? From the first exile or from the second exile? So actually, the Gemara Megillah says that was Achashverosh's mistake, that he was calculating the exile, and he thought 70 years have passed, nothing happened, I can now have my kingdom without any worries that the Jews will go back to the land. Maybe laugh about it, maybe not laugh about it. Dayavesh, according to who actually let in the end the Jews to come to the land, was the son of Achashverosh, so his son actually, maybe he was also Jewish, Dayavesh ben Esther, according to many Parshanim. So anyway, but when do we start to count the 70 years? From when Yehoiakim, from the exile of the king Yehoiakim, or 18 years afterwards from the exile of Tzidkiyahu, and actually we counted twice. So we have 270 years. After the first 70 years, which means 70 years from Galut Yehoiakim, if I good in math, so 52 years after the Galut of Tzidkiyahu, right? 52 and 18 and 17. So that's when the story here happens. Koresh lets the people come back to Jerusalem. Okay? They go back to Jerusalem after 70 years from the first exile,
Right.
or 52 years from the second exile.
Right, okay.
He lets the people go back to Israel. They go back there, they start to build the temple,
Right.
but they don't finish to build all of Jerusalem.
Right.
And then, we'll get to it later, then people bother them and they wait for about 18 years, and then after 18 years afterwards, which means 70 years from the second
Right.
exile, that is when they actually go and build Jerusalem. So both calculations, the Nevuah was for both calculations had something right. Maybe reminds us the Gemara that when Hashem promises something good, even there's no reason for it, so it will in the end come. So 70 years, wherever you want to count it, it will go. You can count it. Maybe also teaches us that you can't build a state just like this. It's stages. It takes time to build state. But that's okay. So that's so Lichlot Dvar Hashem Mipir Yirmiyahu. That's what we explained. 70 years after the exile, it goes wherever we count. So we can count. Heir Hashem et Ruach Koresh Melech Paras. Hashem maybe woke up the wind or the spirit of Koresh, the king of Paras, and he announces in all of his kingdom, V'gam b'michtav. Why is it important to have it also in a michtav, in a letter? And here you can remember a story that happened a few years afterwards. Megillat Esther happened a few years afterwards. Why is it so important to have a letter?
Well, if you don't write it, you didn't do it.
Okay. So that if you don't take a
You
picture,
couldn't call anybody on the telephone, you had to send letters.
you
you have to send letters.
To the distances.
Yeah. But Hevir Kol B'Kol Machto, obviously he had people writing it down and sending it. Why does he also write b'michtav? What does he mean b'michtav? Obviously, if he announced it to all of his kingdom, so he sent to people and told them, remember exactly what I'm telling you, or he sent letters. Why did it say b'michtav?
You can't, I mean, a month from now, 3 months from now, or a year from now, if you just said it by word, no one could remember. People will, it'd be hard to remember what happened. What did he say? What did he really say? If you write it down, if you have a record of what was actually said.
And what do we care if he has a record or no?
Well, people are going to come later on and say, get out, you don't belong here.
Yeah. So people, first it helps to have something written down, okay? That's more of a lawyer thinking, right? That's a lawyer thinking, right?
No doubt about it.
So as soon as it's written, so there's no doubt about it. Another thing that we can learn from the Megillah, and it will bring a question what happened here exactly, and later Prakim, כי כתב אשר נכתב בשם המלך אין להשיב. As soon as the king writes something down and signs it, you can't cancel it. That was the rules of the Persian Empire, and that's the same Persian Empire. So when Ahasuerus, a few years later, decides to kill all the Jews and he wrote it down, he can't just erase what he wrote. It's written down. Okay, it's Ahasuerus, and that's the question. Was Vashti killed by Ahasuerus or no? Did Ahasuerus kill Vashti?
I don't think it's clear.
What is it?
I don't think it's clear.
It's not clear. According to the regular Parshanim, so he killed him.
It seems that way. Most people would learn that it seems that way. Most people would learn it.
Yeah, on the other hand, it says in the Megillah, as we're going out, we'll go back to Ezra again. It says, זכר את ושתי ואת אשר עשת, ואת אשר נגזר עליה. Okay, what does it mean נגזר עליה? It doesn't say that she was killed. Maybe, that's only a maybe. He didn't kill her. He just signed that she can't be a queen anymore. And as soon as he signed it, so there's no way to back out of it. Maybe, okay, that's only a maybe. The common commentaries say that Vashti was killed. But that's an interesting point. So writing, in any case, it's quite clear from Esther, as soon as you write something down, so it's, you can't back out. Okay, so it's something quite serious. It doesn't just promise. As one of the very politicians said once, I promised, but I never promised to do it. Sometimes I say to my kids, הבטחתי ולא הבטחתי לקיים. So, but it's written down. You can't back out of it, and then in a few people will ask, okay, so what happened? Did he back out of it? Okay, so כה אמר כורש מלך פרס, we learn this pasuk, Hashem commanded me. Hashem commanded me by, and Rashi says, I read Rashi, ציווה עליי על ידי ישעיהו הנביא. So it was commanded by Yeshayahu, the prophet, to build a house in Jerusalem. And it says towards the end of Yeshayahu Memdaled, האומר לכורש רועי וכל חפצה ישלים, okay? ולאמור ירושלים תבנה והיכל תבסס, כה אמר השם ממשיכו לכורש אשר חזקה. Okay, so anyway, so Yeshayahu mentions Koresh, who's supposed to build the temple. Okay, so how was Koresh commanded? The answer is by Yeshayahu commanded him to build Koresh. Okay, so Koresh sends all these letters, tells people, whoever wants from the nation, Hashem will be with him, and he will go to Jerusalem, to Yehuda. We already answered why does it say so many times Jerusalem is in Yehuda. And Koresh continues also with his commandment. Doesn't say whoever wants to go can go. What about the people staying here, or staying in Babel? So we're in Pasuk Dalet, בכל הנשאר מכל המקומות אשר הוא גר שם, everyone who's left wherever he lives, ינשאו אנשי מקומו בכסף ובזהב וברכוש ובהמה. So they'll make him important. Okay, someone is going to Jerusalem, make him important, lift him up. ינשאו is like lift him up, rise him, make him rise with silver and gold and wealth and animals. Together with together with what they donated to the house of Hashem, and for some reason it says again here Asher b'Yerushalayim. Again it says Asher b'Yerushalayim, which will be in Jerusalem. You can see how important it is to the Navi, or the person who wrote this book, which is Nehemiah. So we skipped it. We didn't explain who wrote the book, right? So we'll get to them in a
Yeah.
moment. It's important for him to mention how that they will go to the house of Hashem, which is in Jerusalem.
So, these people who stay behind, are they supposed to, are they giving matanot to those who are going to Yerushalayim? Or is he saying, no, the people stay behind will also be exalted? In other words, I don't understand. Like he says here, right? Everyone who stays in their place, right? Let the people assist him. Like who's going to assist him? Like who is? I'm confused.
Yeah. So good question, because as soon as we have that, who assists who?
Who's
Yeah,
assisting
who's
who
assisting
here?
who? Yeah, who's assisting who? We have here Rashi and the Mitzion answer, and maybe I'll say the pshat. Usually, I don't like to say different pshat against Rashi and against Rashi and the Mitzion, especially when they say the same thing. Here, looks like maybe the pasuk is saying something else, but first we'll learn Rashi's explanation, and then we'll go to. So everyone who's staying in Babel, okay, from wherever he lives there, and maybe that's what caused Rashi to say the explanation, which we'll get to it in a moment. Just look at the words of the pasuk, and that's a good thing to do, to see what the words tell us. If I would write a pasuk, and I would like to spare my words, I don't want to waste too much words, I can cut at least 6 words out of this pasuk. וכל הנשאר ינשאוהו אנשי מקומו. Whoever is behind, so the people who live there will raise him. The pasuk adds 6 words. וכל הנשאר מכל המקומות אשר הוא גר שם. Okay, so for some reason the pasuk gives here, describes and adds a few more words of whoever's left from wherever he is, he lives there. Okay? He lives a gar. What does it mean? Maybe that's what brought Rashi and Mitzion to the explanation. And they explain some people who wanted to go to Israel but didn't have enough money. They couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford to go to Israel. And Rashi says, "V'chol Yehudi nishar b'mkomo." He's left in his place. שלא יוכל לעלות מחמת שאין לו ממון. He can't go to the land of Israel since he doesn't have money. And then Koresh commands, give him money, plus also donations for the temple, so he'll be able also to go to the temple, and also he'll be wealthy. So that's yeah. So that's Rashi's explanation is, and also the Mitzion is people who are poor, they don't have enough money to go to the land of Israel. So Koresh commands the neighbors to send them with wealth. It could be another explanation. Maybe actually you can find a way that they combine. That if new people, if there's a few thousand of people going to the land of Israel, they're leaving everything behind, and the fields behind. They could take with them maybe gold and silver and maybe cattle, but they can't bring with them the houses. They can't bring with them the fields. So everyone who, almost by definition, who's going to the land of Israel is losing a lot of money. You are starting here a state, which is quite a poor state, a poor state, and it's not a state of independence. It's also a state which is part of the greater Persian Empire. And Koresh, because of the nevuah, because of the prophecy, God, or because of other reasons, he doesn't want to have such a poor state. He wants Jerusalem to be a nice and wealthy place, so they'll be able to support themselves. So they'll be able to go to the temple and pray for Koresh. He wants them to have a wealthy state. So it could be that Koresh commands everyone who's staying here in Babel, and tell them, okay, you're staying in Babel, you're staying here, no problem. I don't command you to go. I do command you to think of your neighbor who just left and send with him presents also for him. And it says in the pasuk, "V'gam le'ndavar le'beit ha'elokim asher b'Yerushalayim." So send presents also for him and also for the house of Hashem, which means don't send with him only things for the temple. Yeah, it's not just to help to build a nice shul or support the have your name next to the gate of Jerusalem. this gate was donated by the wealthy person who lives in Babel. It's not enough to have that. You also have to support the people living there, and that's what maybe happens here. So that's an explanation.
So we've mentioned Yerushalayim a lot so far, but from what I understand, Yerushalayim is not mentioned at all in the Torah.
In the Torah, it's not mentioned. It's mentioned,
Not at all.
yeah, because they didn't get to Jerusalem in the Torah. It's mentioned like many other places which are mentioned in the Tanakh, but aren't mentioned in the Torah since the nation wasn't in the land of Israel. So maybe your mind, it's the Torah says Har HaTov, Azeh Lebanon, and we have a Har HaMoriah, which could be different names, but the names obviously as soon as they come to Yeshua and Shoftim and more on towards Shmuel and Melachim, so the actual places the Tanakh will mention them. We'll just read the next two psukim, which maybe finish the story, or it's this story. ויקומו ראשי האבות ליהודה ובנימין, so the heads of the families for Yehuda and Binyamin. Why them? Okay, why Yehuda and Binyamin? So short explanation is they are the tribes.
The ones
That's
left.
the tribe. That's the ones left. We already said that there are actually more tribes there. There's also some of Shimon and some of Ephraim. So why is it Yehuda and Binyamin? I mentioned it. There's also a few from other tribes. So the Midrash in Shiur Shiurim Rabbah says that they mentioned the Shvatim which are needed to come back to the land of Israel. Okay, they mentioned the ones who are needed. Yehuda, he's the king. Actually, Sheshafsar was from Yehuda. The leader was from Yehuda. And Binyamin, because the temple, at least part of the Mikdash, is in the tribe of Binyamin, so you have to have at least representatives from those two. Okay, ויקומו ראשי האבות ליהודה ובנימין והכהנים והלוויים. So, other Kohanim and Levim, לכל העיר האלוקים את רוחו, everyone who Hashem woken up the spirit, לעלות לבנות את בית השם אשר בירושלים, to go up and to build the house of Hashem and see it again, אשר בירושלים. It's probably so important to realize where the Torah or the Jewish place is. It's mentioned here already, I think 4 times. Someone said that I think Vilna used to be called the Jerusalem of Lithuania. I think it was Vilna, I'm not sure.
Sounds like that. Yeah,
so, and here probably, and then Rabbi here wants to say that don't have that mistake. There's only one Jerusalem. That's the place where you have the temple. That's the place where Hu HaElokim Asher B'Yerushalayim. That's the God which is in Jerusalem. We can have Torah all around the world. We can have a nation all around the world. In the end, there's one center of the world. And that's why the Navi mentions again and again and again Jerusalem. And as Korosh commanded, V'chol Svivotehem, everyone around them, Chizku B'Yidehem, they strengthened them, strengthened their hands. Bichlei Kesef, V'Zahav, they gave them silver and gold. Barichush, general wealth. V'Behema, with cattle. U'B'Migdanot, maybe also different kinds of food or other things. Levad al kol yitnadev, apart from what everyone decided to donate to Jerusalem. So what Korosh commanded also happened here, and so it seems here from this pasuk that they supported them. Whoever wanted to go was supported, so they can go to Jerusalem. Maybe this explanation is the same as the Rashi's explanation, that probably the people who want to go to Israel will be the poor people that want to go. Hashem put the spirit to go to the land of Israel, but they can't go because they're poor, so everyone around them supported them with wealth.
I'm reminded of, I was looking over here, so when the Jews were bringing all the materials for the building of the Mikdash in by Yakel, so it says over here that who's ever right, v'chol asher nadva rucho oto. So it's a little. In this case here, it appears as if this this will to go came from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, as opposed to something like the language here is not whose ever spirit moved them to go. It sounds like the language is saying who's.
The spirit will move by Hashem.
Right, whereas over here the language was specifically, now you could argue, well, if God doesn't move your spirit, you're not going to go, but it's very interesting that over here, it invokes God as moving the spirit, whereas over here, to bring the materials for the Mishkan, it sounds as if whoever themselves
Well,
wanted.
it's true. Yeah.
It's just an interesting
It's
difference.
interesting. There's difference because in the Mishkan it talks about bringing the silver and gold, right? From that Baruch Tortah. Here he brought himself. So Hashem will be lifted in us. So he brings himself. So Hashem is lifted in him to go.
He had to bring himself to go. That's true.
Yeah.
They were already. They were already there.
Yeah.
So,
And here Hashem comes inside him to bring himself. Okay.
Yeshua